Now, the United Nations Security Council is due to call for a vote for a rare emergency session of the UNGA. The vote by the 15-member council is procedural. None of the 5 permanent council members, that is Russia, China, France, Britain and the United States, can use their veto power. Diplomats say that the move needs 9 votes in favour and is most likely to pass. All right, now to give us more updates in terms of what the United States and other nations in the West are doing in this crisis that is unfolding in Ukraine, we're joined in by Lenka White, who is a United Nations journalist. She's joining us live from New York. Lenka, this of course is a pretty difficult moment in diplomacy where the United States and its allies in the West have been trying to create a deterrence to stop Russia from carrying out its military operations. What can we expect today at the United Nations?
So tomorrow, the Security Council is going to meet. We will have another emergency session, which was requested by the United States and Albania. And following that, if the 2 countries will get 9 votes on the resolution, we will have another emergency session in the General Assembly. And what we could expect is basically what is going on and trying to create bigger pressure on Russia.
Right now, when the vote was held for a draft resolution at the UNSC yesterday, 3 nations abstained: India, China and the United Arab Emirates. And Russia, of course, vetoed the draft resolution. Now, when the vote will be put in place in the United Nations General Assembly, how much support is the United States expecting to muster?
I think that is a great question, and it is also very hard to answer because in my personal experience, these countries usually try to level up the support basically to the last minute, to the last hour. So I believe they are right now working hard, taking the phones. You know, today I was speaking with one diplomat from France and he was saying, you know, we were all the time calling until the last minute, basically until the meeting, we were trying to get the biggest support. So it's very hard to say, but I believe we could definitely count on the usual allies of the United States. And actually, even some countries recently start condemning Russia, even those who were in the past in favor, because it's a very strong action.
Right now, so far we've seen sanctions being imposed on Russia by the United States and other nations in Europe. Can we expect the United Nations as a world body to also get involved in sanctioning Russia?
This is also a big question, and definitely everyone is talking about it and asking in the UN and outside. I believe so many countries would like to have sanctions on Russia, but as you know, and as you already explained, Russia is having a veto power, and I think they basically will block everything concerning sanctions. So, unfortunately, I don't think we will move realistically forward with this idea as for this moment.
You know, my last question to you, Lenka, is you know, the United Nations, of course, came into existence in the aftermath of the Second World War. Its stated intention is, of course, to prevent any kind of a war or a conflict anywhere in the world. But when one of the big major powers, which also wields a veto power, like in this case Russia, resorts to embark on a war, you know, the effectiveness of the United Nations as a world body to prevent wars and conflict is also called into question. You know, what is the mood like in the United Nations at this point of time when these meetings are being held, but the result of it is unlikely to have any kind of an impact on what is unfolding in the war in Ukraine?
Well, this is another excellent question, and many members have pointed it out to Russia. Actually, in the Security Council meeting yesterday, they called on Russia to actually step down from its presidency because Russia is having now its February presidency of the Security Council. And some of them even said, like, look, why is Russia having the Security Council seat if it's behaving against the United Nations Charter and against the international law? So that's definitely another topic which is being discussed, but you know, there has been the discussions over Security Council reforms in the past, and it's been almost since the beginning of the United Nations. And of course, the permanent members don't want to give up their seats or the other members. So this is very, very difficult to change it, unfortunately.
All right, we'll have to leave there. Thank you very much indeed, Lenka, for joining us and getting us all those updates from New York there. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.